Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about the latest studio album from Vildhjarta, entitled skogen, sjunger evighetens, granar. Wow, I promise you, I'm well aware of this. You don't have to tell me. I know that I butchered every single word there. I know it. You don't need to tell me. You'll do it anyway, but you don't need to. Every syllable, every word, everything. Killed, dead, by me, by my hand. Wow. And guess what? I'm probably going to keep doing it, so let's make a little drinking game out of it. Take a shot every time I horrifiably butcher the pronunciation of a word, a song title, the band's name, whatever else have you. Enjoy at your own risk. Anyways, this is the third full-length studio album from this Swedish progressive metal band, or as some like to call them, Thaw. What is Thaw? Honestly, I've not really much of a clue. Some would describe thall as a new subgenre of progressive metal pioneered by Vildhjarta, and that it is different from progressive metal because it has complex polyrhythms and a bunch of different dynamics and dense atmospheres and chugging djent-like riffs here and there. And when you say that to me, when I hear all of that, what my brain does is it goes, oh, okay, you're describing progressive metal. Straight up. But then I say that, and some motherfucker goes, actually, it's Thaw. And like, what are we fucking doing here, man? It's the, no, it's brutal technical death metal, not technical brutal death metal meme, but fucking for realsies. I don't know, whatever. Moving on. It may not be a totally brand new, one-of-a-kind subgenre, at least not in my opinion, but it certainly is a sound and style that I would say is mostly unique to these guys. Like, to be fair, I wouldn't necessarily mistake them for Meshuggah or Between the Buried and Me or Mastodon or Periphery or Intronaut or The Ocean or whoever else have you. Now, I first came to know of Vildhjarta and Thaw back in 2021 with the release of their sophomore studio album, Meltdown under vatten, which I wasn't really, like, a massive fan of. I wasn't entirely sold on it. There was a lot that I appreciated about the dynamics and the size and scale of the record, but I ultimately felt it was a little repetitive and incohesive and ultimately just not worth an 80-minute runtime. And though I know I sure as hell cannot prove what I'm about to say, I'm nevertheless going to say it. I wonder if Vildhjarta was paying attention to my review, because right off the bat, I want to say that some of the issues I have with that album have been resolved. It is a more unique sounding and better flowing and more cohesive feeling record all the way through. There are some problems which we will address later on, but still a noticeable improvement. Unlike Meltdown under vatten, skogen is also 56 minutes long, which overall makes it just a lot more digestible. I think the opening number, Bita ut alla starnjor pa himlen mat plus stecken, Sweet Kentucky Fried Fuck, I feel really bad for you if you're actually genuinely doing the drinking game right now. Yikes, be safe. I think that song does a really good job at establishing a very dark, tense, chaotic kind of atmosphere and vibe right off the bat. I like how it introduces some genuinely pretty versatile guitar riff to kind of contrast with these dense, atmospheric, spacey, cosmic layers. You have some jarring, pounding, sharp riffage. You have some more extreme metal, kind of percussive and rhythmic blast near the very end as well. And kind of straddling in the middle, you have some more droning, lumbering, almost kind of shoegazy, sludgy guitars that do a great job at complementing the more atmospheric elements. It almost reminds me of like Floor for like a hot little minute, and I kind of fuck with it, honestly. It transitions nicely into the following cut, Tiva Vakra Savanar as well. Vocals are introduced here. I like the towering walls of these like very hearty guttural vocals and these thick pounding, djenty kind of riffs and grooves. Combined with Simpson keys and atmospheric elements, it makes for some pretty epic, cinematic sounding, feeling moments and peaks here and there. And Sargasso is a genuinely pretty gnarly cut as well. Some super beefy, muscular riffage all the way through, some very venomous, vicious, nasty sounding vocals as well. Love the use, honestly, of these restrained, almost Deftones style clean vocals near the very end, layered over top of some just pummeling, churning fucking riffs. Very cool effect, as well as some of the more heavenly sounding keys and atmospherics and backing vocals that you can hear all throughout. But after this, things start to change. I want to make it clear that the material doesn't actively get worse, but I do start to notice that a lot of these songs do follow similar blueprints and formulas and structures. I do start to notice that they rely on a lot of the same techniques and tricks and tactics and dynamics and pyrotechnics. And as a result of that, it starts to feel derivative of itself and lose a little bit of its edge, at least for me. Like, put it this way, there's only so many times you can throw chugging riffs and crazy guitar sounds at me and expect me to still be into it. I'm a lot of things. Nick Nocturnal ain't fucking one of them. Also, side note, I'm not really a huge fan of how some of these erratic sounds and guitar dynamics are used shortly after or even in the midst of these like slow lumbering sections. It just kind of feels like a cheap jump scare in a way, like the sonic equivalent to like watching a horror movie and somebody just jumps out. You know what I mean? I would go as far as to say that it almost feels like something manufactured for the aforementioned Nick Nocturnal to react to and freak out over on his channel. Now, I will agree that despite this, there are some strong moments skittered and scattered across the record. For instance, Regnet The combines these very slow-moving, droning riffs and lumbering sections with some very pounding, very aggressive, brutal, muscular riffage and percussive blasts and vocals, and it just has this very agonizing, crushing kind of feel as a result of that. And there's definitely enough cool technical riffage and cathartic, atmospheric breaks and sections scattered across tracks like Roto Lapmar, Sota Applin, and Starn Bloating, and the closing number, Den Spanska Kanslin, to keep you invested, especially if this is your kind of thing. It is entirely possible that I will feel differently about this album as time goes on. With my very first listen, I found myself just being flat out bored and ready to dismiss this thing. As I listened to the album more and more leading up to this review, however, I came to appreciate more and more of the production and the songcraft and the dynamics and just the overall talent behind the scenes and everything that's been assembled here. That being said, though, at this current moment, I feel comfortable giving this a 3 out of 5. A simultaneously enthusiastic and unenthusiastic 3 out of 5 at that. Like, an enthusiastic 3 out of 5 if you love modern prog metal and djent and thall or whatever have you, and you just want to hear a bunch of crazy guitar stuff and that's your thing, that's your deal, hell yeah. But a very unenthusiastic 3 out of 5 if you're more like me and this kind of particular subset of prog metal hasn't always necessarily done it for you. Not really much more to say in my opinion. I gave the album an honest shot. I enjoyed it and appreciated it far more than I thought I was going to, but overall it's not really my cup of tea. Once again, 3 out of 5, enthusiastic or unenthusiastic, depending on how you already feel about this band and style of music. It's decent. I hope your livers aren't too fucked by the end of this. Mine is certainly thinking about this drinking game. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I am not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. Boom, more videos. Join us on Discord. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.